Hi class. Today I'm going to show you how to host a Flask project which you've created in a GitHub repository. Show you how to then host it on Python Anywhere so that it's publicly available. So let's begin. First, go to your File Explorer in Python Anywhere and create. I've already created this folder. Create a folder called Flask Project. And this is where we're going to import our code from our GitHub repository. So to do this, we say open bash console here, and then we type git clone, and then the path to our repository on GitHub. So in this case, you go out to GitHub, and this is when I'm trying to import this particular repository. And see, if you clone or download, you click that and you grab this. This is the path you need. Go back to your console and paste it in. And it's just adding it. It takes a little bit of time to add the code. Okay, it finished, so let's just verify in the dashboard that that code is in there. Go to Browse Files, Flask Project. All this stuff has now come over. Okay, so now we're ready to build our web application. Let's go back to the main dashboard, open Web tab, add a new web app, next, select Flask, select Python 3.7, the latest. Let's just take the defaults. So it's going to actually create a little little application at this location. And let's see if it's showing. And yeah, hello from Flask. So all we need to do then is actually modify this quickly created app so that instead of pointing to the directory it created in the app.py file it created, let's make it point to our own. So we can do that by going down here, and let's change the source code directory first. And instead of my site, it's now that place we downloaded it to in Python Anywhere. So we can just go into our Flask project here, click on this, maybe click one of the subdirectories so we can easily grab the path, templates, and then grab this, and then we click it, we put it in here. And when you click verify, it'll actually see whether the path is correct or not, like that. In addition, we have to make some edits to this configuration file. So just click on it, and here it's pointing again to that default the site that was created automatically. Let's change that path again here, and then instead of it being called Flask underscore app, it's actually now just called app.py because that's our main file name for our Flask project. Save it. And let's go now and see whether things run. So we go to open web tab, and let's just reload it. Okay, now that it's reloaded, let's try to run it. And we get a 500 internal server error. So we can go back to our app, look on our error log, And if we just scroll down to the bottom here, it's showing us that it's not connecting to the SQL. Now, if you're not running a program running SQL, you won't get this error, but let's fix it. The problem is the way you specify the path when you build it on your local computer is different than the way it needs to be specified in Python Anywhere. You have to give the absolute path name in Python Anywhere instead of the relative path. So let's do that. Let's open up app.py. So this is the problem right here. This path needs to be absolute rather than relative. And we can just grab this. Save it. Now let's run Python Anywhere again. Reload it. Run it again. Still get a server error. Let's go back and look at our error logs. And it still says there's a SQL error, so I think I'm missing the leading the leading / So let's go back again into the file. This just gives you some sense of how you gotta open it up. And let's add the leading / save it again. Go back to our dashboard, open web app, reload it, run it again, and it's working. So hopefully this is all you need to do to get your application running. You may though sometimes, so up to here, minute 8 in this video, hopefully you can just stop and that's as far as you need to go. But I'm just going to also show you how you can set up a virtual environment on Python Anywhere too, in case you run into any complications, you need to add libraries that somehow aren't part of the default, or if you install the application oddly, you may also need to reinstall your libraries like Flask and mostly just Flask. So let me just show you how to set up that virtual environment. So first of all, let's create a virtual environment because you can see that there isn't one defined here. So let's go back to let's create a open up a bash console. And what I've typed in here is make virtual environment, and then this is the name of it, my virtual environment, 37 to stand for the version of Python that I want to use. And then I specify the actual version of Python, the most recent one. And now, if I run this, okay, sorry there for the little glitch. What was going on was I was trying to make a virtual directory from the wrong path in the console. So you need to do it from the root, it looks like. So go into your dashboard, click bash, and it loads the bash console at the root location, it looks like. And then you type in this, and this will make a virtual environment at make virtual environment called my virtual environment. Let's call it 3.6. And with version 3.6 of Python. And it'll just all install the stuff like pip and everything. So we've installed it, and if we type pip list, so let's create one more virtual environment, this one with Python 3.7, and actually load it up with Flask. So, and let's, and it's running and installing it. Okay, so it installed it. Let's do a pip list again. And now let's install Flask. And it's installing it. Okay, it's installed. Let's just go back to our file manager, browse files. If we go into virtual environments, they should be listed here. No, yeah, they're right here. There's the 3.6 and the 3.7. 3.6 hasn't been include lib. Let's see what 3.7 has. It should have more. Well, lib. I'm not seeing the installed libraries in here, but I think they're in here. Maybe there are pointers to them somewhere else, but we know these are here. So now let's install. Let's go back to our web-hosted application, and then install them or set up this virtual environment. So this one, 3.6. And it's telling me that I have the wrong version of using the wrong version of Python. I need to use 3.7, so we can't use it. So instead of using that, we're going to put in 3.7 here. And it likes that. And let's open a console. Let's verify again that 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 Flask is installed, and it is. And now let's run the app. And it's running. Now, but if we go back into our virtual environment and take out Flask, let's remove Flask. Make sure to use capital here. Okay, and now let's go back to our app. And if we try to run it again, reload it, and now open it up, something's wrong. And that's because Flask's not installed. So we can go back to our virtual environment and reinstall it. Okay, so now that it's reinstalled, I'll probably have to reload the app. Yeah, so go back to Python Anywhere. Go to our web tab, reload it. And watch it run again. Still something's wrong. So we got to go back to our error logs again. Looks like we can actually link to them directly from here. Click down, and it looks like Bootstrap is now missing. So whatever I did with the virtual environment, I've got to reinstall Bootstrap. So let's do that. In the virtual environment, we can go to Bootstrap. Now I should say in this particular application I'm importing Bootstrap, whereas in the class I don't think we ever do this, so you'd probably never have occasion to do this, but it just gives you a little more sense of how to work with the virtual environment. So let's go back to Bash, and in case you had to install Bootstrap, you type pip install Flask Bootstrap. Okay, so now we can go back to our web application. Reload it and run it again. And now it's working. Okay, so hopefully everything from minute 8 on you don't need to do, but those last 8 minutes of this video show you how you can install a virtual environment, install libraries into that virtual environment, check your error logs, and then sort of gives you at least some elementary things you can do if you see stuff in your error logs. Usually it means that something's missing from your library. Okay, I hope this video was helpful.